Big news just dropped for first home buyers in Australia. The government's 5% deposit scheme just had some massive updates that make it way more accessible. We're talking about the removal of income caps, higher property price caps, and get this, unlimited places under the scheme. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what the scheme is, what these changes mean for you, and how it works in 2025, and a few mistakes to avoid so you don't get caught out. By the way, I'm Nick. I'm a mortgage broker with Kingfisher Finance Group, and I specialize in helping first-time buyers and investors get into the property market. So let's start at the top. What exactly is the 5% deposit scheme? This is an Australian government initiative designed to help people buy a home sooner. Normally, if you want to avoid paying lender's mortgage insurance, banks want you to have a 20% deposit. So on an $800,000 property, that's a whopping $160,000 plus the other purchase costs such as stamp duty, conveyancing, and so on. With this scheme, as long as you have saved at least a 5% deposit, in this case $40,000, Housing Australia steps in and provides a guarantee to your lender for the other 15%. That guarantee basically replaces the need for lender's mortgage insurance, which can save you tens of thousands of dollars. It's important to note this guarantee does not mean the government gives you money. It's not a cash payment or a deposit. It's simply a safety net for the bank, which is why they're willing to lend you up to 95% of the property's value. Now here's where things get interesting. From the 1st of October 2025, the scheme got some huge upgrades. The first is no more income caps. Before you had to be under certain income limits to qualify. Now that's gone, so no matter what you're earning, you can take advantage of this scheme. Second, the property price caps have gone up. For example, in Queensland, you can now buy up to $1 million in the capital city and $700,000 in the rest of the state. In New South Wales, there's up to $1.5 million in Sydney and other regional centres and $800,000 elsewhere. This increase in property price caps reflects some recent growth in the Australian market and makes many more suburbs eligible within the scheme. The full price caps for all states is right here. So pause the video, have a read and see what your state's cap looks like. Last of all, there are now unlimited places. Before there was a cap on how many people could use the scheme each year. Now that limit is gone. This makes the scheme available to way more Australians who were previously locked out. So what does this all actually mean for you? If you're earning a bit more than the old income limit, you're now in. If you wanted to buy in an area where the prices were slightly higher than the old cap, you may now be able to qualify. And because there are unlimited spots, you don't need to worry about missing out if you weren't first in line. In simple terms, this has massively widened the door for first home buyers. But there's still some fine print you need to know. To qualify, you must be an Australian citizen or permanent resident. And if there's two of you applying, you must both be an Australian citizen or permanent resident. You must be at least 18 years old. You must be a first home buyer or not have owned property in the last 10 years. You must buy an owner-occupied property that you're going to live in and not an investment property. You must have at least 5% of the property value saved as your deposit, but less than 20%. And on top of that, the property itself has to meet the scheme rules. It needs to be a residential property within the price cap for the area, and it can be an existing home, a new build, house and land package, or even off the plan. Now, how do you actually get into the scheme? You can't apply directly with Housing Australia. You need to go through what's called a participating lender, which is basically the banks and lenders that are approved to offer the scheme. If you speak to a broker, we will be able to check your eligibility and guide you through the whole process. And here's how it works step by step. First, you want to check your eligibility. There is a tool on the First Home Buyers website that gives you a quick check. And if you speak with us, we will also check if you're eligible. Next, we will pair you with the most suitable participating lender. There are many lenders participating in the scheme, so instead of choosing one at random, we can select a lender that best suits your needs. Now we reserve your place. Once you're eligible, your lender applies for a spot for you, which is held while you go through the process. Once you have a pre-approval, you can go out and find a property. You have 90 days to sign a contract of sale within the scheme's price caps. If this 90 days expires, you'll either have to extend or reapply for this pre-approval. Then finally, it's time to get the keys and start living in your new home. Just be aware that even after you move in, you must continue to satisfy the eligibility criteria while the government guarantee is in place. Let's talk about some common mistakes I see people make with this scheme. The biggest one is thinking you can rent out the property after 12 months of living in it. I've seen this all over social media, but it's just not true. The rules are clear. You must live in the home as your principal place of residence while the guarantee is in place. And if you move out and rent it, you're breaking the conditions, and this guarantee could be removed. That could mean the lender making you pay lender's mortgage insurance. Another mistake is not factoring in other government incentives. If you're also using a first homeowner grant or a stamp duty concession, remember that these have their own separate eligibility rules, and you've got to meet all of them, not just the 5% deposit scheme. Now you might be wondering, how long do you stay in the scheme? The guarantee is in place until you either pay down the loan so you've got 20% equity, or refinance with another lender once you hit that point. This can also be done if the property grows in value and your loan to value ratio is at 80% or less. At this stage, the government guarantee is no longer needed and you're just in a standard home loan. Once this is done, you are free to rent out the property and turn it into an investment property if you wish. Just again, make sure you're factoring in any other government incentives you may be using. So with these changes, what do I think will happen? Officially, the government says these changes won't have much impact on the house prices, but personally, I think we'll see extra pressure on the price brackets that have just been opened up, like between 700k and $1 million in Queensland and similar brackets in other states. I think the first ones to take advantage of these recent changes will be the ones that get the most benefit. I also wouldn't be surprised if we eventually see the caps reintroduced on the number of places, just because demand could be huge with these relaxed rules. Now you may have got to this point and realized the scheme isn't right for you. Maybe you don't qualify, or maybe you're looking to buy an investment property instead, but there's still options out there. Things like guarantor loans, special LMI waivers, or just paying that LMI cost yourself. I won't go deep into those here, but if you think one of these may apply for your situation, it's worth reaching out for a chat. So to wrap it up, the 5% deposit scheme is now more accessible than ever thanks to the October 2025 changes. With no income caps, higher property price caps and unlimited places, this is the biggest shake-up to the scheme we've seen so far. If you're a first home buyer, this could be your best shot to get into the property market without needing a massive deposit. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure you hit the subscribe because I'll be regularly covering updates like this. And if you'd like to see a personalised plan to see how the scheme could work for you, book a chat with me.